Ne? Welcome, guys, to another lesson brought to you by Dripanomics Tutorials, and we are going to be covering Accounting 1A, the new financial statements. Is everyone hearing me? Give me a thumbs up. Am I audible? Magically. You can send one more message in the group saying, yeah, manje siyaqala. Those that are not here, they are not here, but we are operating, right? Operation what? Dudula. There's a hand from Anga or Anga. I'm not sure. Anga, hi. Was that a mistake? I'm cooking, guys. We just arrived. I'm cooking. I just can't turn the stove on number 6 at the same time. You understand? Some people like their meat slowly cooked. You understand? Need to start at 1. Make sure you boil it. Otherwise, you burn it, and it doesn't taste nice. Sharp. Let us begin with the financial statement. So I assume this is what you guys did. Can someone just unmute themselves and tell me that you can hear me? Just unmute your mic and say yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, is there anyone struggling with the new format of the financial statements? Because I've covered this in the contact lesson. Who here is struggling? Who here is lost? Who here, is crying? Who here is a runner, is a track star? Who's confused here? So there's Nancy. So Nancy is lost. Who else is confused? Ubunolo. Hi, Ubunolo is a new name. Ne? Ubunolo, I don't know you. Amahle, hi, Guguletu. Tamsanka. Is that how it's said? Tamsanka. Kunene. Lucky Kunene. Okay. Naledi. So Tavazi. Andy. Everyone is struggling. Okay, I think I get the picture now. Ha, Segulate, Maji. Let's get cooking. Stove is on number what? Number 2 now, ne? Sharp. Let's operate. I'm going to break down accounting to make sure that you guys understand the fundamentals. So make sure that you cram this. This is called the statement of profit or loss. What does the statement of profit or loss talk about, guys? You see latecomers. Latecomers are people that come to the dinner once the food is finished, and then they're like nifuna man disturb man enjoy man, right? I'm joking. Latecomers, you are welcome. So where was I? It's important for you to cram this financial statement. Statement of profit or loss. This is the new template according to your respective lecturers. You see, new people are going to be a problem. They are a menace to society. I wish I could accept all of them at once, but I shall do that for the next lesson. It's fine. Nina niyapuza kahle ne? Like that's the energy, ne? Niyapuza ne? Niyapuza nina kahle. Like why ni join manje? Nidagiwe kahle ne? Segulate. Fine. Cram this financial statement, ne? It's important. Revenue, right? First things first, we all start with the revenue. Revenue is the amount of money we generate as a company from our sales, right? This comes from the main product line of business, right? So if we sell shoes, our revenue is going to stem from what? Selling the shoes themselves, perhaps maybe selling shoelace, maybe selling anything related to shoes and clothing products. Shoes and like shoe products like shoe wipes and all of that, right? Because that is the main source of revenue for the business, because they are in the business of selling shoes. Then cost of sales, guys, would constitute of things such as cost of sales, the cost of buying the inventory from your supplier, right? Because you don't manufacture most of these stuff, right? You buy it from a supplier and then you just sell it. That is the cost of sales. You buy inventory, right, at cost price, hence why it's cost of sales. So when you recognize your cost of sales of your inventory, you're going to recognize it at cost. What do I mean? You buy a shoe for 1,000, you sell it for 1,500. Your revenue is 1,500, right? And then your cost of sales is 1,000, because this is the cost of the shoe, and then the revenue is how much you are selling it for, because you've included your markup. Am I making sense, guys? Are you guys following? Those that have their arms raised, just put them all down, unless if you have a question. She's a runner, she's a track star. When it gets hard. Amahle, hands down. Kamagu, is that how it's said? Kamagu boy. Avuzwa, Dango. Amahle, I think Amahle is sleeping. We know people like Amahle, when the weather's like this, they trrr. You think they're in the lesson, but they are not with us. You understand? But it's fine, Amahle. We still appreciate you, ne? So we continue. We have our gross profit. Gross profit is revenue minus cost of sales. And then we have other operating income. What other operating income can businesses have? We can have rent income, right? We can have rent income. We can have other income in the form of what? Besides rent income, what else can we have? Anyone would like to give it a try? Besides rent income?
Bad debt recovered.
I don't think we record bad debts recovered here. But most okay, let's just say bad debts recovered. Bad debts recovered basically reduces our bad debts, but let's quote unquote say it's income, but we're gonna deal with more transactions relating to bad debts. You're gonna see when we deal with transactions what we do exactly with bad debts, right? What other income do we have besides rent income? There's also interest income if it's not here. No, but it's gonna be income and expenses from other. No, it won't be. So also income, interest income, right? Is everyone following? Guys? What other types of incomes do we have?
Sir, what about income?
What income?
Commission income.
Yes, commission income would also fall part of this. You are correct. It would fall under other income. What other incomes do we have? This thing is better dealt with when we are dealing with the question and we're given a trial balance, because you're gonna see. But let me just try have a look at a question here with the trial balance to see if there's something. I want a tutorial question with the trial balance. My heart is breaking. Let me see. There's nothing here with the trial balance. But it's fine. You know what? I think it's better when you deal with the specific example itself. But the point I want to drive home here, right, is what? We have all other operating income. So your commission income, your rent income, your services fees, whatever income you guys have, ne? You put it here. This is not a part of revenue. Revenue, we've acknowledged that it's the main source of money you get from selling your inventory, right? Fine. And then we discussed the distribution, administrative, and other operating expenses. This, guys, in the test, when you write it, you're gonna open one big bracket here, ne? How do I write this? You're gonna write one big bracket like this, ne? And then here, you're going to include all of the figures that affect your administrative expenses, distribution costs, and other operating expenses. What expenses are these? These are okay, there's a question here. Let me hear. Mana-ke nkabi yami angazi noma ngizwe gabi yini izolo kodwa I heard the lecturer saying rent income will go to income and expense from investment property. Ngididekile manje. Isn't rent income under investment property? So let me see this new format that you guys are making reference to. So what are you guys saying? You guys are telling me that your rent income is gonna be under the investment property part, under this part. Is that what's being said here? Can someone just unmute themselves and just confirm?
Yes.
All right. No, thank you so much. Who was that? This is Andile, ne? Thank you so much, Andile, Justin, and Ave. Right? Let's take of note that, ne? Rent income, guys, falls under what? Income and expense from investment property. Right? Okay, fine. Then our distribution, administrative, and other operating expenses. These are our normal expenses, right, guys? Can you guys list them? Let me give you a few. There's depreciation. What else is there? Guys?
Water and electricity.
Water and electricity, yes.
Telephone expenses.
Telephone expenses, yes. What else?
Salaries and wages.
Salaries and wages, yes. What else?
Advertising.
What?
Rent expense.
The rent expense. Is rent expense, would rent expense be correct here, guys? Under the new format?
We don't know yet. Actually, but we used to know that, but now we don't know actually.
What do you mean? So what did your respective lecturer say with the new format in class?
He hasn't talked about rent expense. No, he hasn't actually.
They haven't. But thing is, if rent income falls under your income and expense from investment property, let me see, income and expense from other financial. But thing is, our rent expense wouldn't be investment property because it's not an asset of ours. However, if there's rent income, we own the property, hence why it's investment property. And it's investment property because we are gaining, we are, what is it? We are getting money for it, and it's not PPE because PPE is, do you guys know the definition of PPE? So PPE are tangible assets, right, that are held for a period of more than 12 months and are used for administrative purposes and whatnot. So there's a reason why there's a difference between investment property and PPE. Ne? I need you guys to know this. So PPE is basically, let me just accept that. PPE is basically property, plant, and equipment, like land and buildings. That's stuff that we own, that we use as the business, right? So it can be a place where we work from. It could be for administrative purposes, to supply goods and services and whatnot. That doesn't fall under investment property. Are you guys following? Are you guys following? So there's a difference between PPE and investment property. Ne? Please note that. So if we're using the definition of PPE and investment property, we can't say rent expense then falls under income and expenses from investment property because we don't own the property when we are paying the expenses. So hence why I'm more confident it would lie under distribution costs, administrative expenses, and other operating expenses. Is everyone following me? Is there a hand from Amahle? Hi Amahle, how are you? Amahle? Okay, I think Amahle is fine, right? So we have dealt with the distribution costs, administrative and other expenses. Then we come to our operating profit. How do we get to operating profit? It's gonna be our...
Say, can I ask?
Yes, ma'am.
Under distribution and administration costs, do you have specific things that we record there?
No, you're gonna basically record all of your necessary expenses. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. So it's your... Can you just mute your mic because there's an echo? So it's basically your depreciation, your rent expense, your salaries and wages, your water and electricity, your advertising or your marketing costs, any cost that you can think of, your bad debts also, you guys didn't mention. What other costs are there? Every single type of cost, you're gonna basically open one huge bracket like this, ne? One huge bracket like this, and then write all the figures. You're gonna plus them, minus them, using the trial balance and the additional information transactions, that which you will be using. Are you following, ma'am? Was that Nancy?
Also insurance.
Also insurance, yes. What else is there? You guys are cooking. There's more though, there's more. Okay, maybe you guys will see better when we do like transactions and stuff. But you guys get what expenses are, ne? Is everyone fine? Give me a thumbs up. Sharp. Then we can move on to what? Then we can move on, let me see, to this part, right? Operating profit. What is operating profit? It's gross profit plus other operating income minus our distribution, administrative, and other operating expenses, right? We're gonna get a figure of what? We're gonna get our operating profit, right? So it's important to cram this new format, guys, because this is the one that has been changed for this year. In the past, it was never like this. In the past, we used the old format, which I think I've taught to you guys, but now it's different, so you need to now learn the new one, right? Fine. After that, after operating income, we have income and expenses from what? From subsidiaries, right? So mainly, I don't think for accounting 1A, you guys deal with subsidiaries, but if you guys do, we will touch more into it. What is a subsidiary? Do you guys know what a subsidiary is? From the classes you guys attended, you guys know what a subsidiary is?
We know.
What is it, Esther, for those that don't know?
Actually, I don't know how to explain things.
So you
Let
don't
those who
know.
know.
So you don't know, Esther. You don't know. Yeah, Esther, you don't know. Who
I
else?
try.
Who else? Okay, there's
I
Naledi.
know.
Okay,
So,
Esther.
sir,
Wait. Esther says she knows. Esther, what is the answer? Here you know.
The thing I heard is that those who is controlled by those who owns more share or majority or something like that, I think. But I
Okay,
understand it.
but you're
I
on the
can't
right.
explain it, but
Okay, I'll explain it to you guys. But there was a lady, Gamze. What? Wait.
It's Gameze.
Gameze. Me, I was gonna say games,
No,
but it's fine.
Gameze.
Gameze. Yes, ma'am.
To how a subsidiary was explained, ne? They said that if we as a company we decide to go to another company, for example, let's say we're selling, let me say pillows, for example, ne? And then we see that people are maybe getting more into buying beds. So instead of starting another company, maybe that will sell beds or adding it to a production, we invest in another business that is selling those exact same beds. And then we make sure that we have a majority shareholding. So that company becomes a subsidiary in our books. I think that's what I
Yes.
heard.
You heard correctly, but there's another even simpler way of thinking it with like real businesses that exist in real life. But your answer is very much correct, Nena lady. There's also Tandeka here who says subsidiary, a company controlled by another company. That's Unati, but she said, I don't know why Unati said Tandeka Ngovu. It is when our company have bought a majority holding percentage in another company. Well, technically, okay, the deeper you go with accounting, guys, you'll realize that for one to be a majority, for you to be a subsidiary, it doesn't really have to go with the majority shareholding, right? But it can also be decision making because you can have less than 50% or 51% stakeholding, but rather also be able to impact decision making of shareholders and decisions of the company. So yes, usually it's the percentage, but also it goes more later on when we talk about this the decision making. Who hires the directors and stuff, right? But ideally on a what is it? On a surface level, you guys are correct, right? Everyone here is correct. And what is a practical example of a parent and a subsidiary? So we have what we call Mark Zuckerberg, right? You guys know Mark Zuckerberg, Mzagazaga, ne? He owns what we call Facebook, right? He founded Facebook. But after founding Facebook, he basically created Meta, right? So Meta is what we call a parent company. It's the Umzali. Is that how it's said in Zulu? Umzali, ne? Yeah, it should be Umzali. Come on, guys, I know my Zulu per, but yeah, I think it's Umzali. It can be Umdali, ne? Umdali is God, ne? In Kosa. Corner somewhere, but yeah. Meta is basically a parent, ne? To who? The subsidiary who are children. Who are the subsidiary of Meta? It's gonna be WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. Are you guys following? So do you guys see that Meta is the father or is the mother, which is the parent company? And then under Meta, we have Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and whatnot. Those are what we call the subsidiaries, basically, or yeah, subsidiary companies of Meta. Because basically Meta is the father, is the parent or the mother. Are you guys following? So whatever income, right, that Meta would get from Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, they would record it here, right? In this context, they would record it here. It would be under other. It would be income and expenses from subsidiary, right? Because it is a what? Subsidiary, right? Those companies are subsidiaries. Is everyone following, ladies and gentlemen? Is what I am saying in alignment with what your tutor or your lecturers are saying in class? If guys I'm speaking nonsense, please let me know. Ne? I don't want people to fail and then, oh my gosh, that tutor, like, I was the first year and like, oh my gosh. No. We're making sure we are on the same page here. And then if you fail on your own will. Or as I'm teaching real content here. Ne? If there's a person that gets 100 and you get 25%, and I'm the tutor for both of you guys, who is at fault? Yeah, that's a good question. Amashe, there's a hand. How are you, Amashe? I think Amashe raised the hand by mistake. If it's a mistake, just raise down your hand. Ne, Amashe? Dango. There's Kabelo here. Unama accent awungakhi kanti wena. Mina boy inkhuluma isingisi, like that's English, like oh my gosh, like that's like American, like oh my gosh, pretty girl stuff, right? And then I'm also from the UK, blood like in it, yeah, right? And then I'm also like Oga, like you never know me, like me busy brother. Economy bed, Ramaphosa cupcake, that's Nigerian type shit, right? I got a lot of accents, guys. I've been everywhere, right? I've been everywhere. So and then I sing Gisi, boy, so hey, and then I'm paid and stuff, but like it's a lot. Nonoza, right? Please explain how we calculate dividends. Have you guys even reached the dividends part, guys? Have you guys already started calculating dividends in your tutorials?
Not yet.
Well, not yet, ne? Sharp, but we'll come to the calculation of dividends. Hey, you guys really want to work really hard, hey? Because usually the figures are given from the trial balance, but like we'll get to it, ne? Well, let's just finish this quickly, fast, ne? So where were we? We were income and expense from subsidiary, right? So we done. Then we have income and expense from other financial investments, right? So what income here are they talking about when they say from other financial investments, guys? Talk to me. Car. I don't know what Andile is saying there with the car. Is it car or cha or what's going on? What do they mean when we are referring to income and expense from other financial investments? There's Amake's hand that's up, I'm not sure. Nancy, hi Nancy.
Say, isn't it the interest, like if you made a deposit or fixed deposit,
Fixed
like you invested
deposit,
money, a long-term
exactly,
deposit
right?
in the
Because a
bank,
fixed deposit,
and then that interest you get over time, is, I think that's it.
exactly, right? So our interest from what? From our fixed deposit. Do you guys know a 32-day deposit, guys? Have you guys ever went to banks, or are you guys still underage? Guys, do you guys know what a 32-day deposit is? A fixed deposit, nyana. Some differ because of their days. There's a 32-day one, there's a 60 days one, there's the 3 months, 6 months, 5 years. So basically, a 32-day deposit, fixed deposit, basically is an account or a system where you as a person go to the bank and you want to put money in your bank and you want it to gain interest. Ne? That interest would be recorded under income and expenses from other financial investments, because you are putting money in the bank, right? It's a fixed term deposit, right? And then it's gonna take you 32 days, right, to want to access that money if you want to withdraw it. So it gets locked for 32 days basically. And if you want to get it earlier, you can. It's just you're gonna pay penalties, right? But we view that fixed deposit, that money is basically income because you earn interest, right? The bank basically gives you interest for keeping that money. Why do they give you interest? Because they know that bona they're gonna use your money to give another person a money for a loan or something like that. So you guys should know how banks work and stuff. Are you guys following what I'm saying? Are you guys following? So basically, financial investments usually is the fixed deposit. You're gonna see it on a trial balance, and you basically earn interest of that. And a fixed term deposit is basically it's an asset, right? It's an asset under the statement of financial position. Fine. Then we come to where? We come to income and expense from investment property. So you guys here mentioned your interest expense, right? What else would fall under income and expenses from investment? Anyone? What was discussed in class, guys? Are you guys engaging in class or vele nitembe mina vele? Was there
Please repeat your question.
So what else is included in income and expense from investment property? Accounting. Yes. Yes. Rent income, Nancy. Dividend. Oh, banja. Sikhuluma ngento eyi-one, guys. Nancy, Koto, just unmute yourself and also just explain the dividends part today. Yes, Nancy, hi.
Say, I could you said there are penalties that you need to pay or fines for maybe requesting that you take out your investment before it has matured. Isn't it like that amount is going to be an expense from investment property because the money that you invested, it's like
But thing is, investment property, remember guys, it deals with what? Investment property. It needs to be property at the end of the day. The expenses of taking your money out early from the bank, that's a financial investment thing. But also, I don't think they're gonna test you guys in relation to that extent where they're gonna talk about you wanting to take out money and you being charged penalties for that. But if that comes to the case, then it's gonna fall under income and expenses from other financial investments. Are you following, Nancy? That has nothing to do with investment property. Are you following?
yes.
Yes. Fine, right? There's rent income. What else, guys, did you guys talk about? Good morning. Do, 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 do.
Sir,
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm good now that I'm speaking to you, big man. Talk to me.
On the when I said dividends, actually you questioned why I'm saying dividends.
Yes.
Actually, correct me if I'm wrong, okay.
Yes.
On the what's this income and expenses from subsidiary, we explained it, okay. We found out that it's it has to do with who the parent company and then you have your subsidiary.
Oh, you know what the
Then
problem is? The problem is I thought you were answering the income and expenses from investment. Do you understand? I mean, not from the investment property. So your answer would be wrong because the dividends you're making reference to, like income dividend or management fees, these would be income and expenses from the subsidiary. You understand?
Kante, on investment property, don't we have like this thing whereby the company also invests in property, but then they invest beyond majority. They don't, maybe let's say they invest 30%, whereby they receive dividends, which is more like rent. Actually, you receive your part of the share within the company invested in.
So, I'm not sure if you guys have dealt with the definition of investment property, né? But you usually deal with it in what is it? Accounting 1B. So investment property is basically property that is like the layman's definition is basically property that is bought with the intention of generating income rather than being used as primary residence, right? So what can it do? It can produce income through rent, right? Through rent because you charging people, right? Rent income. And then it could be also making money through appreciation, which is what? Increase of value over time. Because remember, we measure investment property using what we call the fair value model. Ne? The fair value model basically suggests that if you buy a property for 5 million, in 2 years' time it can be worth 7 million. So there's been a gains, right, on investment property of 2 million. That 2 million would fall under our income from investment property basically because it has increased in value. If there was a decrease, we're gonna write the expenses under that same line item of the expenses because it would have reduced our value of investment property, right? So there's a difference between investment property and PPE. So there shouldn't be any dividends with investment property, right? Investment property, usually we record our rent income or appreciation because we measure it at fair value. Are you guys following? Like, I wish I had my accounting 1B book, né? But we explain this properly in accounting 1B, right? Where we define the difference between investment property, the difference between PPE, right? Because what is the definition of PPE, guys? Those that think that they know, there's a difference between PPE and investment property. There's a huge difference, né? Does anyone want to try?
Isn't it the same as tangible asset or fixed asset?
Yes.
So
So the definition of a PPE is tangible assets, né? And it's usually held for more than 12 months. But what is it held for? What is it held for? Like it's used, right? It's used for either administrative
Can I please
purposes.
try
Yes, yes.
for operational purposes?
Yeah, for operational purposes, administrative purposes, and whatnot. But you can't get like rent income from PPE because PPE is basically things that you use. It's office that you use. Are you guys following me?
And what about leases?
Leasing, or so are you talking about us leasing to someone or us being leased? Or like us
Le-
leasing?
Us leasing.
So if we are leasing, this guys, did you guys do this in class? Because leasing is what we do in accounting 2A, and I don't want to confuse the masses. When we lease something, guys, in our books, we call it a right of use asset. Why? Because we have the right to use the asset, but the asset is not ours, so we can't record it as PPE in our books. Are you guys following me, or I'm cooking you guys? This is accounting 2A though, and I'm worried that the congregation is gonna get lost. Are you guys following? So when we lease property, guys, leasing is what? Leasing is basically when we are renting out a property, right? We haven't yet bought it, right? When we lease, let's get confused. Yeah, must I not speak about leases, ne? I mustn't speak about leases, ne? Sharp. Can you guys write the definition of PPE down so that you guys are able to differentiate between PPE and investment property? Can I give you the definition? So the definition of PPE is basically tangible assets that are held for use in the production or supply of goods or services, right? Or for administrative purposes and are expected to be used for during more than one financial period. Because vele it's intangible. I mean, it's tangible, and when you say we use it for more than one period, you usually don't buy land or PPE to sell at same time. But with investment property, you can. So let me just repeat. It is a tangible asset that or tangible assets held for use in the production or supply of goods and services, or for administrative purposes, and are expected to be used during more than one period. Do you want me to repeat that? Again, tangible assets that are held for use in production or supply of goods and services, or for administrative purposes and are expected to be used during more than one financial period. So, what are we talking about? We are talking about physical assets like buildings, machinery, vehicles. Long-term use, what are we saying? It's used for more than one accounting period, because an accounting period is 12 months again. Usually, our PPE, we use it more than that. Yeah? It is not used for intended immediate sale, but rather for helping the business generate revenue. So we are buying this not to sell at same time. I'll repeat, ne? And then recognition criteria. Guys, I'm gonna kill you guys. This, I don't think you need to know this for test one. This is just for those that are too excited, right? This is for those that are too excited. But another definition, lastly, PPE are tangible assets that are held for use in production or supply of goods or services. Ne? Are you guys following? Or for administrative purposes and are expected to be used during more than one financial period. Ne? Are you guys following? Ne?
Oh, lapho.
Uthini naleli?
Yebo.
Oh, yebo, we wanna party. Inkabi yami sacela siqhubeke. Yebo. So I was just giving you the definition. But let me give you the definition of what? Of investment property so that you guys are able to differentiate. Investment property, right, is property that is held to earn rentals or for capital appreciation, or both, rather than being used for what PPE is used for. You guys are fine, né? This is just me explaining, going deeper. Kabelo, what's the problem?
Sir, please re-explain, sir.
So, what am I saying? Investment property, right, is property that is held to earn rentals or for capital appreciation. So you are buying this so that you can just sell it maybe at a future date because you want it to increase value. You're not going to use it on a day-to-day basis as like headquarters or your manufacturing warehouse or whatnot. You are basically buying this to either earn rentals or capital appreciation or both. Ne? So the aim of you buying this is to generate income, right? The aim of investment property is to generate income. Ne? It's not meant for business operation, production, or administrative purposes. Ne? Sharp. We are fine, we can continue. Ne? Can you guys give me a thumbs up? Is everyone fine now? We can continue, ne? Okay. So then we come to what? Profit before financing and income expenses. So basically this is profit before what? Our interest expense and our income tax. Ne? And then after that we get what? Our interest expense. Where does our interest expense come from, guys? Where does interest expense come from?
From our loans.
Who was that? Thank you so much, Khotso. Yes, Nancy?
I was gonna say the same thing.
Okay, thank you so much. So you guys are on the same page. Nyakabanga, nyapheka, you are cooking, ne? Ne? So, sharp. Long-term borrowings, yes, that also comes from loans and stuff, ne? Shout out. You guys are okay. And then, where do we go? What constitutes, then there's profit before income taxes, right? And then after that, we have income tax expense. We know what income tax expense are, ne? Those are our income tax expense because we need to pay tax to SARS, particularly if you are a registered company, right? Right, guys? Good. Then after that, ne, we have our profit. Right? We have our profit. How do we get to our profit? Through doing this. All of this adding and deducting here gives us to this figure. And then we have also our earnings per share, which is usually given for accounting 1A purposes, right? But usually us in the past, we needed to calculate this. But yes, is there a hand? Khotso?
Sir, may I please ask before we go to another financial statement?
Yes, you
On
might.
the,
Yeah?
on the revenue part,
Yeah.
yeah, today by the lecture, somebody asked about like returns. If maybe we have sales, then returns come back into our. Maybe somebody brings back returns. Ne?
Yes, like for example, if it's damaged and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yes.
we subtract like from sales and cost of sales.
Yes. So I
So
think yeah.
then, if like we have like those returns, I was scared to ask the lecturer. Well, I didn't have the guts to ask, but then again I knew I was gonna ask you.
Lol.
On the if like that happens, ne, do we also have to like
Yes.
you to go to the statement of financial position to our inventories and also add back the inventories which came back into our business?
Just repeat your question. Wait, I got distracted. Did you say that we need to deduct the revenue thing?
I carry we deduct there from like revenue and
Yes,
cost of
because
sales.
our revenue is decreased because the person brought back
Yeah.
brought back the inventory. So our inventory is going to increase, and then our cost of sales will decrease
Yeah.
and stuff. Yes.
My question was that then to further on like complete the thing, do we also have to go onto our inventories like in our statement of financial position?
And
And
yes, so you're asking a very good question. Who's that, Mr. Khotso? Yes. So this is why, guys, you're gonna realize with accounting that the transactions, when they say additional information and you need to journalize, usually in a test, if they ask for the statement of profit or loss and the statement of financial position, you are expected to also go to inventory and show that because of this indication, there's been an increase of inventory, because you're gonna need to add it back to your inventory, because the customer has brought it back. So you are absolutely correct, Photo.
so okay, think then do we do it on cost or we
We're gonna do it on cost and also on the cost of sales and also inventory. Because remember, many accounts are affected. Ne?
yeah, then yeah, he's somebody even asked about it. I was going to ask about the vet. Somebody asked about
Did
it.
you guys cover VAT in class?
Uh-uh.
Ni jaheni, guys. Ni
Oh,
jaheni.
so
Guys, VAT is gonna be tested in test 2. But guys, test 1, focus, no noza, focus. VAT, let's leave it for now. VAT is another dimension, and discount also. Let's get that when you guys have already cooked the first paper. Let's not confuse the enemy. Mara, basically, there are consequences of VAT and discounts on revenue. We will discuss them. But for now, test 1, you guys are going to assume that the business is not VAT registered, right? Unless if told otherwise by your lecturer. Ne? So please, guys, it's also important to keep me updated as your tutor as to what's going on. Ne? Ne? Sharp. So we can continue. So is everyone fine with the statement of profit or loss, guys? Are you guys following what's going on? Is there a question before we move on to the other one?
Sir, can you please send the statement of profit or loss on the group, sir, so
Not a
that we can
problem. Can someone just send this document? You guys should have it on Moodle. Can someone just send it to him or on the group there, guys? This document, because it has all the statements. Someone have a heart, ne? In Zulu, but in vulinkliziyo. Kaspedi re bulang dipilo banna, bulang pilo. Ne? Just share it in the group, guys. It's free. Don't gatekeep. Y'all look so enthusiastic with accounting. So sad I didn't do it in high school. Oh, Bonolo. Hey, that's funny. Do you guys get the oh Bonolo part? Because that's her name. Nislo. But accounting is very fun, Bonolo. Or oh Bonolo. Have fun with us. Don't worry. You're going to cook. Yo, Esther. Sawubona sisi. Unjani? Esther, sawubona sisi.
I'm good. I'm still here. I'm
Oh,
still
oh,
here.
it's SA2 that's raising a hand. Sawubona sisi. Hey. Is it too high? Is there a hand or was it a mistake?
Yes,
Hi,
yes, there's a hand.
hi, Miss Ngovu.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, I wanted to ask, would say for test one, will we only be required to just write down the formats, or will there be also additional information?
Additional information is going to be there by fire or by force. You'll be there. It will be there.
Okay, thank you.
Everything is going to be there, my sister. Whatever you're doing in class, it's a cooking session. Unkosazana Ndlovu uzwakala emuhle. Hey, mina ngazi ngaleyo bhuti. Uzongibuza wena personally. Mina lento emuhle funa i-accounting phela. Can we have a whole question so that we can try it on our own? Of course, Unati. I love people that can try. Because in life, you ought to fail for you to succeed, guys. No one became a billionaire overnight. Ne? So practice makes perfect. There's this other proverb. What is it? Ish. Don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong. Ish. Yo, that's a bar. That's too much, ne? That's powerful, guys. So practice, practice, practice all the time. You will see. My question is about the lines. Are we going to draw? What lines are you talking about, Miss Saint? Are you talk? Yeah, it's advisable for you to draw these lines. It makes things easier for you as well. It makes things easier for you as well because you are able to differentiate all of these above mentioned things. So yeah, it's advisable. But as long as you get this part, guys, in the test, we only care about this, eh? This is clutch. And as long as you minus, you add here correctly, you are okay. You are cooking. Where can we get past papers? Past papers, I don't think past papers are gonna help you guys, eh? Especially with the statements, considering the fact that these are new formats. So actually they can help you. I'm lying. They can help you. We'll just have to change the format. Paying members are definitely gonna get past papers from us as Dripanomics. We already did a question 1 past paper conceptual framework. It's on YouTube, right? YouTube, Dripanomics tutorials. But I think for question 2 and question 3, we're going to be covering tutorial questions rather than past papers. The past papers, I'm reserving it for in March, Boma 28, February, when we start doing revision, you understand? So, for you to get past papers, you need to be of our own, my brother. Yeah? I'm joking. We'll see what we can operate today. But are you guys okay? Can we move on to the next statement? Sharp. So, the next statement is the statement of changes in equity. This we basically, we also have done, right, in previously, but maybe you guys think that the format has changed, but it really hasn't, eh? This is for what? This is for 2017, this is for 2016. So let's just do for 2016 because this and this is the same thing. Our balance as at 1 January 2016, these are called our opening balances. Usually you can find these on our trial balance. Ne? Usually these figures are usually given on the trial balance. Ne? This is what we have at the beginning of the year. Then we have what, is everyone fine with that? Let me take it slow by slow. Is everyone fine with a balance as at 1 January 2016? When I say it's opening balances that you can get on the trial balance, is everyone fine with that? Fine, right? Then we come to what we call our changes in equity. So this is what happens during the year. They can be an issue of share capital. So we have what we call ordinary share capital that comes from ordinary shares, and then we have preference share capital which comes from premium shares, right? I don't think, again, for accounting 1A, you guys are going to be dealing with premium shares. You guys will most probably be dealing with ordinary share capital, which is accounting 1A. Did your lecturers ever mention anything about share premium shares, guys?
No.
So you won't deal with share premium, you're just going to be dealing with ordinary, Anger. Hello? Do we need to know what ordinary and preference share capital is for test 1? The lecturer didn't explain in detail. I think you need to know the difference between the two. So ordinary shares refer to ordinary shares, and then premium shares are referring to shares that were bought at a premium price and whatnot. But that's more of accounting 1B. But I think it's important for you to know ordinary shares. Ordinary shares are basically your normal shares. The ones you guys learned in high school, right? When you buy normal shares or when there's an issue of share capital, we usually, for accounting 1A, it's ordinary share capital. You can see that it's here, right? And then there's also what we call share issue costs. So the cost of issuing those shares, right, are going to decrease our thingy here, are going to decrease our ordinary share capital cost. Did you guys deal with share issue costs in your class with your lecturer? Because with my experience, it's accounting 1B. What did you guys learn? So you didn't do share issue costs. Okay, fine. So let's not dwell too much on it. Share issue cost basically refers to the cost of the cost that it takes to issue shares, basically, but it's fine. But it's gonna fall under ordinary. And then for preference shares, this is for premium shares, right? And then we have a total. How do we get to the total? It's gonna be this plus this, right, to give you this, right? And then we have our dividends. We have our preference dividends and ordinary dividends. Our preference dividends would come to our premium shares, and then our ordinary dividends would come to our ordinary dividends. I assume you guys are going to be dealing with ordinary dividends, right? You guys won't deal with preference dividends, right? So ordinary dividends are dividends that you pay to ordinary shareholders for ordinary stakes. Yeah? Or shares.
Sorry, I have a question.
Who's asking? Avuzo?
Anako.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can I please ask what's the difference between premium shares and preference shares?
So okay. So there's a difference between ordinary shares and preference shares. Let's start there. Ordinary shares are basically like normal shares, and in a normal setting, ordinary shares, like shareholders, are paid. How do I say it? They're usually paid last. Ne? They're usually paid last if there's any liquidation of the company, right? Because they are ordinary shareholders, right? And then with preference shareholders, right? These are the shareholders or stakeholders rather that take preference. So they are usually paid first when there's an issuing out of dividends, and if the business is ever being liquidated, they are usually also the first ones to be paid out, right? So that is the difference between the two types of shares.
No, with premium and preference, I meant to say premium and preference.
So with premium shares, premium shares are basically bought at a premium, right? So they are bought at a more expensive price, or like there's a premium of like 2 rand or something. Wait, guys, I'll come back to you. There's a situation I need to deal with. Just give me a minute, né? Yes.